to A Well-Designed Business. My name is LuAnn, and I'm so glad you found this podcast. Together with my husband Vince and our partner Bill, we have grown our company Window Works from the ground up. So I know and I understand the challenges you face in running your interior design business. I also know that your talent alone isn't enough to ensure your success. So on this podcast, we talk about strategies and practical steps to help you grow your business. But make no mistake about it, we have our share of fun here too, mixed in with those aha moments that I love so much. This isn't fluff. Nobody has time for that. Whether you are a new interior designer or a seasoned designer, I am here to help you create and to manage the kind of interior design firm that you dream of. It's straight talk and it's action. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hi, welcome to A Well-Designed Business. It's Power Talk Friday. There are many components that we all know go into creating a successful interior design business, from developing your skills to finding clients, to managing projects, to invoicing and billing. But my guest today would argue that there's one component that's so important that it paves the way for everything else we do. She says, defining your message. So today I am joined by Dolores Hirschmann, an internationally recognized strategist and coach with over 20 years of experience as a virtual business owner. Dolores helps her clients clarify their idea worth sharing. She helps them design their communication strategies, and she helps them implement business growth systems. But when you ask her to boil it down, what she does in one sentence, she doesn't hesitate. When you unlock your message, you unlock your business. Because Dolores knows that without a clear, driven message, everything else is just icing on a poorly baked cake. The message, the clarity, is what sets the foundation for every decision we make in our business, from branding to marketing, okay? Today, she's sharing her insight onto how we can find that clarity for ourselves and how we can help define exactly who we are, who we do it for, why we're the best one to do it, right? Before diving in, I want to take a minute to thank our show sponsor, My Doma Studio. Have you heard that the event is back? 19 Hours is back? Yes. Remember, we did it last year at the very, 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 very beginning of the pandemic. And everybody, you have been asking for it to come back, and it's back this April 13th and 14th. It's just next week, okay? Now, we all know that the world changed, okay? And while 2020 was very much about insulating yourself and your business from what comes next and trying to understand the ground moving below us, now we need to figure out next steps for 2021 and beyond, right? So My Doma Studio has put together a number of panels, presentations, and talks from some of the most amazing industry people that we have and experts. So please join us. The event is free, okay? Register here at mydomastudio.com/19hours. mydomastudio.com/19hours. I will be there both on the 13th and 14th, and I hope you will be too. Okay, now let's hear what Dolores has to say about gaining clarity in our message. Hi, Dolores. Thanks so much for joining me on A Well-Designed Business today.
Thank you, LuAnn, for having me.
Dolores, I have been enjoying the little bit of getting to know you over this last year through your social, through the work that you do, and reading your website, and just our worlds have been colliding a little bit, and it's been fun. And one of the things that I feel like comes through when I follow you and follow your work is this line that you have, which is, when you unlock your message, you unlock your business. So I love this. It's so intriguing. And of course, you know, we're all savvy enough business owners to sort of get where you're going with that, but I'm dying and would love for you to explain it to us.
Absolutely. Let's unpack it. So here's the thing, is that our potential of the work that we are called to do and that we can do is hiding, or is basically trapped behind how we communicate about our work in the market. If people cannot get what we do, if people cannot understand how we're going to help them, then it's almost impossible for them to hire us, pretty much. We end up, you and I hire and buy things every day, pretty much. And we buy it with a clear understanding of what that purchase, what that investment will give us. Right. And if that is not clear, then I will hesitate or literally not do the purchase. But here's the thing. Many small businesses begin with a word of mouth network kind of referral system, which is wonderful. And thank God for that, right? And so not having a clear message, you can actually get away with it, because when you are selling to someone that was referred to you by someone who is happy with your work, then you don't even have to explain what you do, because you have already been sold. They just come and say, I want whatever she got.
Right.
And you don't even have to open your mouth. You're like, sure. And you're confident you can deliver that, of course. The tricky part is when we want to grow. And so really, that statement that I say is very particular to my unique clients, because my ideal client is a client that has gone through the network of referral word of mouth growth strategy. That they've been tagging along that way, and they're ready to go beyond that sphere of impact or influence.
Well, I love this, because I have to say it is a rare time when you talk with somebody and you say to them, tell me about what you do, and you get a straight line answer, right? I mean, it's so true. And so often we talk in a circle and, we do this and then we that. And why it's so clear on my mind is Kim, I'm not going to call out her last name in case she doesn't want to be called out, but a designer named Kim and I had a conversation 2 weekends ago. And I said to her, so she said, I want to run an idea by you. I feel like I need a little bit of somebody's input on the vision and the strategy for this new venture that I'm going to do. And I said, well, tell me about it. And Dolores, I literally expected it to be 15 or 20, because it's so typical. It's somebody tells me about their business or their idea, and then I have to ask 10 questions. And she spoke for about 5 minutes, and I was like, whoa, like, I love this idea.
And you were like, can you take my money? Can I invest?
It's like she literally explained her passion for it, her reason for it, the strategy for doing it, the collaborators that she would bring into it, the value that she would deliver to the potential consumers of this idea, the excitement of the idea, all of the things. I could see the way the idea could make money, which was the icing on the cake, And I said to her, "You don't need coaching. You're good."
Yeah, she had clarity.
She did. She had clarity. But it's tough. It's rare and it's tough. I'm not so sure I'm so good at it all the times,
Yeah, it's rare and it's tough. And here's one thing that might surprise you. And I don't know if you and I have talked about this before, because I know I've interviewed you and all that. But I'm more and more convinced, LuAnn, that what gets in the way of clarity is not more knowledge or sexy words. It's our emotional state of being and our belief system. And that's kind of a weird thing to say, and we might have to unpack this together, to be honest, because it's kind of I'm getting onto something here that I haven't fully kind of explored, although it's something that I've been working with my clients for years. It's just I haven't really verbalized it, but there's something about it, and this is something that I've noticed for many years, that the more complex we communicate, the more self-sabotaging we're doing. And whether that's unconscious or conscious, usually it's unconscious, the unpacking of that is not just a copywriter.
Right. Well, because I think what I'm hearing you're saying in there is two things on two levels. One thing that just hit me is sometimes when we overtalk something, we've just talked it so much that the person was like, you had me at hello, what are you still talking about? It's like the Jerry Maguire thing, right? Shut up already.
That's a self-worth
right?
issue.
So we keep trying to convince, we think them, but we're still trying to convince ourselves. And I do find that with a lot of conversations with that I work with all the designers and the architects and stuff that I work with, because I say to them, you don't need to go through all that. The answer is yes. The answer is no. One or two sentences behind it, and we're good, right? But the other thing I thought I heard you going for in there, Dolores, might be possibly that we almost, like Kim had such a conviction of her idea. There was no backpedaling on, well, I'm not sure it'll work, and I'm not sure if I'm the person to do it, and I'm not sure if anybody's ever done it before, so I don't know if it can really happen. It was like, this is what I see. This is how I see it working. This is how I see it in execution. This is how I see the results. And so do you think that the emotional component is sometimes we're just not prepared to step in and say, I'm capable of this. This is my idea. I believe in it.
Yeah, and I think in the case of Kim, to be honest, LuAnn, before she had that conversation with you, or she had so many layers of clarity accomplished that if and when her belief system or her self-sabotage or her emotional state of being came up, it wasn't in the conversation with you. Basically, by the time she was having that conversation, she had already either bypassed, managed, or never showed up. Right. I don't know, that personal experience. But what I do know is when people are pitching, to you, let's say in your case of Kim, a half-baked cookie, it's really, they're looking for answers from the outside in.
Okay.
They're looking for you to do the heavy lifting sometimes. Because the heavy lifting, we all produce to a certain extent, and depending on, we're all different. And then we get into the stretch zone, what I call the stretch zone, where we need to either think harder or put things on the paper that will be harder to execute or will take us out of our comfort zone. None of us create magic without trying new things, right? Or none of us grow a business without trying new things. So when we get to the ideation of those new things, sometimes we just shrink from them because it's a little scary. And so we don't go deep into clarifying those. Obviously, this woman, Kim, went full courage into asking herself the hard questions. Okay, like simply, honestly, Kim, the question that for her to answer the question of how will this make money is many times where many entrepreneurs stop, because they're launching something out of passion. They are confident in their skill set. They're kind of confident in their market and whether they'll buy, but they haven't really figured out the money part. And for many, that's uncomfortable. It sounds like an oxymoron, because why would you have a business if you don't want to figure the money part? But you know where I'm going
and
with
it's, I know it's so true. I know it's so true. I've said that many times over the last several years of, okay, and how do we make money from this? Like, where does that happen?
Yeah.
Because again, if we don't have clarity on that, are we developing a hobby or a business? Because I'm okay with either, but let's just decide at the beginning which one it is.
Let's just understand what
exactly. Because it's a fun, cool thing, but if it's not going to make you money and it needs to, then it's off the list. We got to figure out a way to tweak it, or we got to move and get a different idea, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you work with your clients in helping them get clear on do you help your clients get clear on what I'll call their value proposition is for short term, okay? Or do you actually work with them once they know what it is, but then helping them get clarity on framing it? So, because it's two different things, right? It's first we have to figure out what it is, but then the second is how do we communicate it in an exciting way that attracts our ideal client to us? So do you work on both facets, Dolores, or just one or the other?
Yeah. So we've created a methodology at Masters in Clarity. We call it the idea method. And it's a journey of 9 clarity layers that we unlock, or we activate, if you want. We activate clarity on 9 layers of your business so that you unlock your message, you unlock your business. And it all begins with your clear idea and clear value proposition. They're in the same kind of bucket. Like once you are clear on what is the need you're going to fulfill in the market and the why and your purpose, but we go into the personal exploration and then we go into the market exploration. And it depends on the client where you start, right? And then it's about, okay, how if I were to give you a soapbox right now or a stage or something, what would you say from that soapbox? How would you communicate this with the world? And so we do both, and then we move on to crafting your proprietary system. It goes into like, so you asked me, LuAnn, is like, if I had 1 second with you, what is the one thing that you guys do, that Masters in Clarity do? And I gave you the unlock your message, unlock your business. That's a very high level. And so the next question is, I go, how do you do it? Well, we have a proprietary system called the idea method, where we activate different layers of clarity in your business. We identify them, then we explore them, then we clarify them, then we take action, right? And so then we'll say, okay, then it's like the book, If You Give Your Mouth a Cookie.
It's my favorite.
So you have your message. Now it's like, okay, I get it. It's clear, but in many ways, even if my message sounds great, there's going to be a lot of people doing what I do, right? So that's why they say, okay, tell me more. How are you different from the rest? Well, I have a proprietary system, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to ask me, so how do you actually help people? What's your business model look like? Do you do one-on-one? Do you do workshops? Like, what does that mean? And so that's what we would do for them as well. We would clarify their business model and so on and so forth.
And this is a journey of days, weeks, hours, like what? Yeah.
So these are 9 layers of clarity. It can be a journey of an intensive day with me, creating your strategy for your business. It can be a journey of 3 months in one of our online programs without me in it. It can be a year of each clarity layer unlocked and us with you in your business. And I say us because it's not just me. I believe that clarity without action is like, what's the point? And I believe that action without clarity is like spaghetti to the wall. It's a lot of doing with very little impact. And so pretty much for every hour of strategy or coaching that you'll have with me privately, you'll have 2 or more hours with my team in implementation. And so whether you do this idea method in a high level private with me, locked in a room, kind of mapping out your business, and then you go and do it. And some people do if they have the team and the resources, or you say, I'm going to do it myself. And we have a beautiful online program around the idea method where we walk the client through. It's a 12-week program for the 9 layers of clarity, because some of these are more than 1 week, right? Or you do the same content, but we get in the business with you. We actually do the work with you or even for you.
Okay. And what are some of the results that you have found? Do you have any particular stories that you can share of a case study of a particular business? Okay. Because that I think will help us understand the impact of getting clarity on our messaging and helping us to, say that to our potential clients.
Yeah. So I had a client, she was amazing. She worked with me for about 2 years, and now we're not working together, but I know she'll come back. I mean, there's always a time for everything. And she's an expert in media and communications, very well known, actually. She's a LinkedIn learning expert. Like she's hired by LinkedIn to teach. She's been in NASDAQ, like brilliant lady. And she had been in the industry for many, many years, and there was a shift happening personally and professionally, and I think the market of PR and media has changed dramatically anyway. And so we needed to help her reposition herself and re-clarify what was her value proposition, because now after 20, 30 years in that space, she was one of many PR experts or media experts. And so we we understood her and her values and her purpose. Again, her focus, intention had shifted over the years through some personal, sometimes very sad experiences. And she came to the conclusion that what was missing in communications overall was the capacity to get yourself in the other person's shoes, right? For empathy and for really being human. And so we identified that, and then we went into, okay, so what does this actually look like? How can you create something that's bigger than you with this? Because having you in the room is great, but what if you're not there? And so out of that, she created something that now she calls the feel model. And when we were parting ways a year ago, we were taking a break. And honestly, she said, I need to implement all of the things we've done in the last 2 years. And one of them was she was actually licensing her model, and it was being sold as a proprietary system, as a intellectual property. Her proprietary system was being sold for big media companies as IP that was going to be deployed across multiple offices across the country, on top of her business that was growing, right? So that's one example. I have another example of a therapist who wanted to build her coaching side so that she could not rely so much on one-on-one therapy. And because it's
not scalable.
It's hard. It's not scalable. And there's a lot of rules that you have to comply with. So now she has multiple online programs. She still is a therapist because she loves it. But she can manage her time. She doesn't have that, and a lot of practitioners like that have that kind of hamster wheel that if I see a client, I get paid. And if I don't see a client, I don't get paid. And if literally they do the math when they take a week vacation, and it's brutal. You take a week off and you don't work for 40 hours. And if you're charging $100 an hour, that's, $4,000 they're not going to make that week.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
So, and if you have to pay for the vacation on top of that, that's a very expensive vacation.
Well, and that's very much like the model for the interior designers that are listening to the show is they have billable hours. It's not likely 40 hours in a week, but they are encouraged to be billable a certain percentage. I think it's I'm going to go blank on it. I want to say it's 60% as the principal and 80% as the juniors, or maybe it's 40% of the principal, but it's still a calculation. And we went through that calculation in Krista Cooper's episode way back in the first 6 months of the podcast, where she said, figure out, like, you want to earn $100,000 this year, like, just build it in. Like, can you even calculate that out? Does that even fit? Right. And from that calculation, then you understand, like this therapist realized, okay, if I want to make X amount of money and only work X amount of hours, then I've got to sell something that is making money while I'm not there. And for designers, it's selling product and other services that is not just tied to their billable hours, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And it's about, and that's the purpose of the proprietary system. Each one of the designers listening to this podcast, and honestly, it's a common denominator. They're all designers, but each of them is unique in the way they approach the projects. Each of them is unique in the way they interact with the client, in the way that they go about the whole process, right? And so there's value in understanding your uniqueness, because that's your secret recipe. And so once you understand your secret recipe, then you can say, okay, can I actually package this? Sometimes the customer, the client for that secret recipe is, I don't know, people who are not designers who want to do it themselves. Or sometimes the client for that secret recipe is other designers. Like you are a designer, right?
Window treatment designer.
And you work with, well, but you've been in that space in some level, and you have figured out that you have a unique way of doing your work that gets you great results. And so you can package that brilliance and sell it. So it's not that obvious who the client is. The fact that you're a designer working with people in homes or people in offices designing doesn't mean that if you bottle and package your proprietary system, that the client will be the same. It might be different.
And so you have this 9 steps, this 9 layers that you unlock. Is it?
Yeah.
Does it make sense to discuss a couple here, or what is the next step in this conversation, Dolores? In so that somebody listening, look, there's going to be somebody listening that is going to say, "Hey, I'm just going to hire Dolores to help me with this," and there's somebody listening that's saying, "Yeah, I just would love to know a couple of key points so that I can start to ask my own questions so I can get to clarity."
Yeah, I would say let's unpack the 9 layers of clarity because that's you're gonna get either of those reactions. Because while they are not necessarily, I did not reinvent the COVID vaccine with this. I do not invent something that is not there, but the way I present it, especially for non-marketers, because we have to remember, LuAnn, that your audience are experts are designing. Right. They might not be experts at marketing or running businesses. And in this world of small businesses, that it is a great place to be. I believe in simplifying the skeleton of what a business is and isn't, and what marketing is and isn't, so that we don't have to become experts in our field and experts in business. Right. So as I said, there's 5 key layers. And then there's 4 supporting. So I'm going to start with the 5 key layers, and then I'm going to go with the 4 supporting, understanding that, while there's an order in the first 5, the other 4 are always at play. Okay. So we start with the message. By all means, unlock the message, unlock it inside of you, unlock it in the communications, unlock that message so that people their antennas will go up and they'll stop scrolling and listen to you, right? So first is unlock the message. Second is unlock your proprietary system. What is a unique recipe or way about your work that is unique to you? Because that is unlocking your competitive edge. Okay? Then it's unlocking your business model. Even if you're just starting, you're probably going to be in a one-to-one kind of business model that you are getting one client and redesigning a room for them, right? And that's one place to start. But I explain and teach my clients what are the options so that our business owners can see what is ahead of them, what is possible. It's like when you get a job, you always want to know where can you grow, right? Same thing here. What are the options of me growing this business bigger than me? So that's the business model. Then, and it's aligned with that, it's okay, if I'm clear on the business model and that I would want to, let's say, make money in my sleep, easy to put that on paper, not so easy to execute, then we have to explore the packages or services. What are ways that we can create a package or service for you to make money on your sleep? I don't know. We go digging. And so those are the beginning 4. And then we go into what I call trust funnels. And that's a whole conversation. I don't talk about sales funnels or sales and marketing funnels. I talk about trust funnels. And this is all about how do you, again, communicate in the world, and how do you put out content out there that adds value before someone even pays you a penny. If you can get someone to feel that you've enriched their lives before they even pick up the phone and called you, the chance that person will buy from you is very, very high. They're just waiting for the right time to hire you.
Right. It's like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so that's what I call trust funnel, and it's a journey of intentionally building trust-based relationships so that a sale is a consequence of a relationship well built. So those are the 5 key layers of clarity, and then underneath, working at all in conjunction, are clarity of market. We need to know, yes, you can design for anybody, but who do you really want to design for? Who do you want to be a hero to? So it's really the business owner picking one market they want to serve and serve really well. Now, if someone from another market comes and hires you, of course you'll do the work if you want to, but making sure that you're talking to a certain group of people, because you've heard this before. If you talk to everybody, you're not talking to anybody. The other underlying is your vision. Is this a hobby? What we were talking. Is this a hobby or is this a business? Like if this is a hobby, then yeah, you can journey through the idea method, but you don't have to work too hard because you have another job, or you're retired and you really, really just want to do this for fun. Then that clarifies the effort or the investment or the time commitment.
Yep.
And then another layer is mindset. Whether you are a business of one or you're a big business with a which I would call it more culture, is what do you believe? What is the conversation in your head? Do you feel that you have a great product? Do you feel that you are on to great things? Whatever you believe is going to show up, even if you want to hide it. So just make sure you are tight in your head and that your head is aligned with your vision.
I love it.
And if it isn't, that's where we need to explore. That's where, and as a coach, we actually score each one of these layers from 1 to 5, 1 being I'm not clear at all, or I have a problem with this, 5 being I'm good with this. So as I start working with a client, we score each one of these layers. And we obviously begin with the ones that are acting up, and then we can revisit the rest. And so the last layer, LuAnn, and it's usually you tackle kind of last, but it's absolutely not least. It's probably the one thing that will unlock your scalability is systems. Because if you're running a business of one, in order to get even just one assistant to help you, you need systems. Otherwise, you're going to be doing your job and the assistant's job until you can delegate.
Well, you are singing our tune here with systems. I mean, it is true. It is the backbone of everything. Even if you are a solo and you need to work efficiently, you need the system so that you repeat it. And I always say it's because you want to create the same amazing outcome for your client every time, whether you're doing it alone or you have 20 people next to you doing it. And you can't do that even if you don't do it the same way every time, right?
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
So what we should do then is, if we list all of these things, we want to unlock our message. Okay, we want to make this message clear in ourselves and in our communication. We want to unlock our proprietary system, the way we do it. I'm going to come back to that in a second. We want to unlock our business model. So tell me, number 4, that was 3. Number 4 was, what are the ways to create packages and services that we do our business? How in your world of these layers is unlocking your business model different from that? I lost that right there.
Yeah. So it's 2 parts of the same process. First, there's a framework that I teach is a triangle, meaning being the top of the triangle is a business model, what we call one-on-one, where dollars for hours. And then the middle of the triangle is 1 to a few. So we are working with a group of people. And then the bottom of the triangle is 1 to many. So first we have to understand these concepts. And then in the packages and services, there are many, many ways to accomplish one-on-one or one-to-many or one to a few and one to many. And so it's the package and services going like fine comb. How are we going to do it? And what does each of these packages include? What is the pricing? How do we do competitive searching the market for who else is doing the same, and what are the charges? It's a whole pricing and bundling conversation, while in the business model conversation is really more about business model, financial projections, and big view of your projected revenue for the year.
Okay, so
but they're the same. They're all connected.
Yes. So what I'm hearing is, when we talk about unlocking our business model and we do the triangle, so we slice the triangle into thirds, and at the top is 1 to 1, in the middle is 1 to few, and the bottom is 1 to many. And so in this business model, the business model stage, we're exploring what are our options. If I were going to have a one-to-one business model, who am I selling to? How am I selling to them? What's my projected revenue stream on that? And then taking it through. And if I were to do a one-to-few, and if I were to do a one-to-many, how would I personally do that? How would that fit into my business? And what is the possible revenue in doing this? And when we come down to it, I don't think, and you'll correct me, I don't think that you're saying that one-to-one is better or worse than one-to-many. Right. What you're saying is have a conversation. Is your business model going to be the revenue generator going to be supported by one-to-one, one-to-few, or one-to-many? So, for example, if I'm a luxury interior designer, and not just say I'm a luxury interior designer, but I'm truly a luxury interior designer that can take two projects a year and they're each a $3 million project, well, I'm pretty good with a one-to-one model. Right? That's a one-to-one model. I'm going to have, one project that I'm going to handhold all the way through. The other project is going to be in a different stage. And this is a cool thing. And for me to do a one-to-many model, like to add, say, e-design, doesn't really, what do I want to distract myself with that for? So that's a valid thing. But it's like, what's the exploration? Where someone else is, they might do this wow, well, one-to-one, I don't really get the opportunity for one or two projects a year to support my lifestyle and my business. So I'm going to need a one-to-many. I'm going to need to have 10 clients a quarter. Or am I on the right track with how you break it down?
You are, LuAnn, and I'm going to add this because, again, it comes down to what the business owner wants. But let's talk about that because I'm intrigued. The luxury designer is happy with $2-3 million projects a year, right? But let's say they've been doing it for 20 years. And yes, it's fascinating. You make a lot of money, but also a very high level concierge to very demanding clients sometimes, right? And there's a level of burnout there as well. And if you are designing the house of big celebrities, there's a level that you could play if you wanted to of influencer, right? You are the designer for, I don't know, Madonna, right? And if have a little house and I love Madonna, I love her house because I've seen them in a magazine, I want to follow you on Instagram and now become, celebrities are influencers, but all of the vendors that the celebrities hire are influencers too. And so, let's say that, again, you're 20 years into this, you love this work, but you're getting tired, but you have enough money to hire a team. You could easily have an online product where you reveal the secrets of designing for celebrities. I'm just making this up. And you can sell that for $97. You can have 1 million people buy $97 and you could retire.
Okay.
And you no longer have to put up with demanding clients.
Okay. So what you're saying is in part of the process is not only identifying presently how you are creating your income, but taking it apart and saying, is there a way to add the other one-to-few and one-to-many models to your business?
Exactly. So my ideal, when we go into that work, obviously we start with whatever the client is doing at the time. That's where we begin. But if they say to me, I really want to make $2 million or whatever, a number, I will go into the business model and I will create a offering mix and we'll say, okay, we'll have 20% of your revenue for year one come from the bottom because you've never done it before. And then 30% come from the middle because you've kind of done it, but you don't have that much traction. And I don't know, the remaining 50%, all of it come from 101 because that's what you know what to do. And so, again, matching what the client wants. And by the time someone hires me, it's because they want to grow. Nobody hires me to stay as they are. And so if the goal is growth, then it's about, I always call the triangle, like the point of the triangle is like the first room in your house and moving into the rest of the room, like furnishing the rest of your house. Because there's always revenue potential in what you're doing if you're willing to go explore.
Okay. Okay. So I think that was a key thing that you just said there. People don't come to me if they're not wanting to grow. That's the
Yeah.
it's because there are a lot of business owners that are like, I want to stay where I am, but I need my message clarified. So that's not necessarily your niche of business owners. That might be a different branding expert or whatever, but your whole thing is through getting clarity, you help them grow and scale. Okay.
Yes, and make more money, or make the same money but using less time. Scaling and growing can look different. Most of them want more free time and no less money or more
Okay.
money.
Right. Yes, it's like we always say, should you get an A in an AP class or an A plus in a regular class? It's like you should get an A plus in an AP class. Oh, great, thanks.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Okay, all right. And then I wanted you to explain a little bit when you said unlock your proprietary system. So we understand that we need a system to run a business. And when you say unlock your proprietary system, are you talking about, like, tell me where we're at? We have lots of, go ahead.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so proprietary system is, maybe I could take the word system out, but it's your unique recipe, is how you're different from the
Okay.
rest. Now, systems is how do you, as you said, repeat every action you take in your business, have someone else do it for you without with the same result. So let me give you something very simple that all of your listeners could do right now. My first system in my business was that for every email or private message that I would write to someone, I would copy it and put it in a Word document. Simple action. Why did I do that? I don't know. I'm a really good writer. I love to write, but starting an email from scratch takes me twice or three times the time. Always. Always. Like I have to wrap my head around it. I have to think a little bit more. I have to be careful with the words. But if, let's say that someone says, I want to work with you, and I'm emailing them back, simple request that should happen often. Once I write it once, I put that copy into a Word document, then I grab that, reservoir of copy. I paste it into a new email. Of course, I will customize it and adapt it, and I'll send it. That will save me between 3 and 7 minutes every time. If you're not busy, don't do it. But if you are busy, they add up. And that's the same for, if someone wants to interview you for a podcast, same response. Have a system where you have a Google Drive folder with all of your headshots, or in my case, I have a landing page for my meeting planners where they can go there and download my photos, right? So it's just making the same way. If you're a mom, I have 4 kids, when they were very little and we were feeding them breakfast and getting them dressed and getting lunchbox in the morning, I always had a system of the night before. I would set the breakfast table and I will set up their lunch boxes with everything that didn't need to be prepared in the morning, whether it's a snack that like a packaged snack, or the containers that I was going to use the next day, but already washed and ready. So I was not,
Right.
the nightmare of going into your Tupperware drawer, like that's like nobody's land. Like I was trying to avoid that. So that's a system, setting up the lunch boxes the night before is a system of productivity.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about with
Okay.
systems.
Okay. I love it. So when we talk about it in the second step, unlock your proprietary system, it's really unlock your proprietary uniqueness. It's what we call in our show, on the show, our Fred Burns only. It's Fred Burns way back in the beginning of the show has taught us that we all have something that's only us. And to your point, we've got a bunch of interior designers, but we each approach it in our own unique way, our own unique recipe. I have to say that is probably one of the most difficult things for people to wrap their brain around. Do you find that in your work with clients also, that so often they are looking at you going, I don't know what my only is. I don't know what my proprietary thing is. Like, what is different about me?
Yeah, and that's very common. Most of us don't. We don't know for 2 reasons. Number one is, and I literally just had a meeting with a client today, on this. So we don't know because there's things that we do when we interact with our client that we don't even notice that we do. And we don't even notice the value that we're adding because we assume that everybody does those things. Like for me, it's like, well, when I am scheduled, I don't know, when I'm scheduling a consultation, my Calendly has filtering questions, for example. Or when I do a consultation, I ask for the person that is requesting a consultation, I ask for their mailing address because I mail them a book. Those are tiny things that I don't even think about. But when you say it out loud, it might be like, I could do that, right? And so it's really about either you sitting down and deconstructing your process or having someone walk through your process and saying, oh, that's unique or that's unique. You just don't know.
Right. Well, and it's funny because I always recall Nicole Heimer of Curio Electro, who I work with very closely. And when you first work with her, because she's a branding expert and she's a website developer, but she has this branding component to it because she doesn't just build you a website. Like she wants to really get at the heart of who you are, what you do, how you do it, and who you do it for, so that it's more than just a website. It's a website that really functions as the best version of yourself and calling it out to the world, right? And one of the things that I remember she does is she asks you to identify 2 or 3 or 4 of your best customers, whether they're your best customers because you have a great relationship, because they've returned to you so many times. You know why they're your best customer, but it doesn't matter to her. Call them and say, we've been, colleagues many years, whatever the intro is. Tell me, why do you come back to our company? Why do you use us? And so we do that as an exercise as a business owner. But then she also asks for the names and she calls them and she asks them because she's, to your point, I may hear something that somebody says that's great about me, and because I'm in the moment of asking for it, maybe I capture it, maybe I write it down, but she's definitely going to capture it. And sometimes, to your point, you don't even know what it is that you do that is appreciated and valued by your consumer, because to you, you wouldn't think of not doing it, right? It's not an extra, right?
Exactly. It's just, and this is what I was having a conversation with my client this morning. It becomes your unconscious competence. You've integrated so much, you don't even know. So this client this morning was saying, okay, I'm trying to think of a lead capture, but I'm not sure what adds value. What's, what I can do, what I can share that is very different. I've worked with this client for 3 years, so I know her really well. And she's brilliant. And I said, do you remember that thing that you taught me 3 years ago? And that whenever I think of you, I will think of that. But it would be great if I could use that strategy. She works on self-love and practices of self-love. It's like, if I were to practice that every day, my life would be completely different. But I forget. And she's like, really? She's like, that's like brushing my teeth for me. Like I do that 3 times a day for herself. Wow. I'm like, I wish I could do it 3 times a day. So we just don't know some of the things that either we've integrated into our life or into our own process of working with the clients that might make all the difference.
Exactly. So it's so interesting. How did you come to do this, Dolores? What drew you to this work, and what experiences in your own life made this a reality for you?
Let's talk about specifically the idea method, because it's a cool story. I mean, I can talk about all my work, but the idea method was a result of a personal moment. Oh. So I have been growing my business, and I had the luxury of being a full-time mom, and I call it full-time mom, full-time business owner. And my husband says the math doesn't add up. I say, well, I define full-time. But I was a full-time mom, and I ran my business while the kids were in school. And it was chugging along. It was, low 6 figures. I mean, nothing to be.
What kind of business was it? What did you say?
No, this.
Oh, it was this business. Okay, I see.
But more one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah, mostly one-on-one without a team, right? And again, I was happy. My vision was aligned with what I wanted. I wanted time with my kids, and I wanted to chug along with this at my own pace. And then my husband lost his job.
Mm.
And it's more complicated than that. It's just a family business and lawsuits and all that. So it's not it's not like lost his job can get another
No.
one, right? Because of non-compete and whatever. And so I literally had 30 days. I mean, at the time I was low six figures, nothing to be shy. Like, I was very proud of it. But in order to keep my house with my 4 kids and, the whole thing, 2 cars going, I needed to make more money. That's it. And when I was required to perform, like required to make more money, my head kind of started exploding. I'm like, what do I focus on first? Like, what do I do? Like, literally, what do I do? And then I started second guessing myself, well, what actually do I do for my clients? How do I talk about that? And so it was kind of a mess in my head. And then I'm very practical, and clarity is my strength. And so I said, okay, wait, let's break this down. What are all the parts of my business that are there? Like, first I need to know what was I dealing with? And then it's like, okay, from 1 to 5, how are each one of these parts of my business? At the time, it didn't have a pretty name. How are each one of these parts of my business performing? Like, how clear and confident am I in each one of them? And I would go and score them. And then I would start tackling those that felt the weakest to me. And that's where the idea method was born. It was for me to stop waking up on a Monday morning and saying, everything's wrong. I need a new website, a new message, a new let's build a new product. Like everything is like baby and the bathwater moment, right? And it allowed me to stop and say, whoa, no, you don't need a new website. You don't need to build a new product. What you really, really need is more marketing. Or what you really, really need is further define the market, the ideal client. Or what you really, really need is systems, because you're losing your mind. So it's kind of, I use it as the wheel of life that you use in coaching, but for business. It's the same kind of strategy.
So what I'm hearing is that there now, it's so funny because so often when I talk with business owners, I'll ask them, do you pay yourself? And I will get the answer, oh, I take an owner's draw, once a year or every quarter, blah, blah, blah. And if there's no urgency, so like you said, a low six-figure business is nothing to shake a stick at. I mean, that is nothing to discount, right? But you didn't need it. You need it. Your family probably got used to and accustomed to a certain amount of income coming from your business, but it was probably for the fun extras and the over-the-top stuff, right? And so now when it became, oh, we're going to buy sneakers and Cheerios with this. This is a different story. Pay the insurance and the mortgages and all of that.
Mortgage.
Yes, right. And that's the thing that I find when so often when somebody's business is, as you use the word, chugging along, not being exceptional, not falling apart, it's performing. You can't say it's not performing, but they look around and they'll say, but the lady next to me, in 3 years, she's already accomplished that. Or in 10 years, he's accomplished this. And I feel like a lot of time that missing component is that need. And if we don't actually have the need because our partner or whatever our circumstances are negates that need, like your need created the action, then one of the things that I always say is start an automatic debit every week of money to yourself. Like if you on Monday get up and know that, $200 or $2,000 is coming out of your account on Friday, that Monday is a little different, right? Then the Monday 3 quarters from now or 3 months from now, where it's like, oh, do I have 15 grand to take out or 25 grand to take out? Oh no, instead of 25, I'll take 19. And so it's that accountability. It seems like that is often the thing. But once you got past you had the accountability got thrown at you, and I just took a little minute there to describe a way you can possibly build accountability, and if you don't have it externally, but for you it was to go through these, major 9 layers and analyze them, score yourself, your business truly on it. And instead of saying, I have so much to do, it's impossible, we'll never pay the mortgage in 30 days. It's like, okay, this one got the least score, I'm working on this. And when that one's finished, I'm going to this one. And it was a path to clarity, right?
Exactly. And and I love that you brought the salary, because I didn't have a salary when that happened. And all of a sudden I started drawing monthly, with the proper payroll solution, like with the taxes and I'm like, whoa, are you gonna pull that much every month? Like, I better shape up. But yeah, so it's about having a system for not freaking out and for focus, really, is because as business owners, service business owners, so when we are working with a client, we're obviously working, right? But when we are not with a client or performing a task for a client, we waste our time. We get lost in projects. We start projects and then we don't follow through. So the idea method and the self-assessment keeps us kind of focusing, okay, if this is the weakest layer this week, because it changes week to week, then this is what I'm going to accomplish between Monday and Friday.
I love it. I love it. It's like a very strategic to-do list to increase the health, the profitability, and the efficiency of our businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think it's outstanding. I love these things. And, what we can do is, do you have your website? Does it put these 9 layers on the website? What should I do? Because I can read them again in the outro, or we can put a goodies, or do you have something?
Yeah, so we have them in our website all over the place. You also can find it in YouTube. So if you go to mastersinclarity.com, you'll find them right there. And you can also go to mastersinclarity.com/free and download a couple of books that talk about it.
I love it. That's awesome. So mastersinclarity.com/free, where we can get some downloadable books to get some more information. And then also we can always just go to your website, mastersinclarity.com, and also find you on YouTube with some more information there. Yes. Love it. I love it. I think it's so good, and it's a recurring theme of recent over the last several months of conversations in social media with my friends in the audience and in emails and everything about this feeling of overwhelm, lack of focus, so much information coming at them that it's very difficult to understand where to start. And I think what you have just shared with us is in these 5 layers, and then the 4 supporting layers are places where we just look at them, evaluate our business, give it a really good score. Don't be giving us too much credit, and don't take away credit, right? And then clear. Otherwise, they can certainly reach out and hire you to work with you within the different ways that you mentioned. But at least we've got something that we can get started with here if we want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so much free content in the website. You can probably build your whole
I love it. Well, you know what? Thank you so much, Dolores, for coming on and going through this. I think it's pretty timely. Like I said, we've had a lot of conversation lately about where do I get started? So I appreciate this roadmap on where we actually can get started and how to evaluate to do that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
What an awesome conversation, right? And I've seen it time and time again with new business owners, even veteran business owners who are looking to expand their offerings. You ask them what the idea is and what they're trying to tell you, but they can't seem to get the message across in a clear way. And the thing is, it starts with truly understanding and knowing what it is that you're doing, right? And that's why I mentioned Kim Levin of Verve Design, right? I was so impressed when she shared her idea with me. She didn't hedge, she didn't hesitate, she didn't second guess herself, she didn't talk in circles, and she didn't leave me with my usual 10 questions swirling in my head trying to figure out what someone is talking about. I mean, it's so powerful. It really is when you hear someone talk about their business in that way. It feels strong and it's alluring, right? It's like you want more. You want to be with that person. You want to work with that person because you just can feel that they get it, right? Now, Dolores pointed out that when you first get started, living off of referrals is really awesome and it's great and it's a fine strategy. And you really can get away with not really knowing with clarity all the ins and outs of ways of explaining your business, like that direct way, okay? Because the referrals are coming. Your clients are doing the work for you. But when you're reaching to get to the next level, when you're looking to scale and to grow beyond your immediate circle, then not having clarity is no longer an option. Okay. And the idea that Dolores raised about the biggest barrier to clarity being our own belief system, that's something to consider as well. It's something that I have certainly seen time and time again, that the mindset is what holds you back from getting clear on who you are, who you want to be, and what you do and how you do it. Okay. We have these little games that we play in our head. And so maybe it prevents us in one situation from standing up and really claiming our superpower because maybe we have a mindset that says, I shouldn't be, I don't know, a bragger or whatever. Well, the point is that, you do have to have some time with yourself to ask yourself these questions so that you can break through and really just lean into, what it is that makes you you. And because that is the thing that people want, right? When people can really understand what makes you you, when they like it, they want it and no one else can give it to them. That's the whole cool part about it, all right? And I also want to take a moment to lean into what Dolores said when, she talked about surrounding that proprietary system, okay? That competitive edge that sets you apart from everybody else when setting something up like that. This is what we call for years on the show, our Fred Burns only, right? If you're a longtime listener, you know exactly what that means, okay? And Dolores said that so often, that proprietary system or that Fred Burns only is something that we don't even realize we're doing. And that's the thing that actually is the special part of our business. She called it unconscious competence. What a great line, right? These are the things that you do that you take for granted, the things that would never occur to you in a million years to not do. But these are often the very things that people are noticing about you and your business. Right? And that's why I love Nicole Heimer and her process when she does a branding and process with you, that she has you call and she calls some of your previous clients and ask, why do you keep coming back? What you say to them, why do you keep coming back to me? What am I doing right? Okay. And this helps shed some light on those distinguishing factors, those onlys that make a difference in our business. Okay. And then you could take it the step further with Dolores's advice and create your proprietary system from that. All right. And of course, we don't want to gloss over the 9 layers of clarity that Dolores shared with us. Very valuable and very helpful in getting, clarity on your message. Okay. To understanding your business model, to putting together packages, to all of this so you can reach your goals, all right? So please, you can download more information and resources from Dolores at mastersinclarity.com/free, okay? mastersinclarity.com/free. You can also find her on YouTube at Masters of Clarity and, take in that content and see what ideas that you can generate based on her, genius to help you grow your business. Okay. And don't forget that she really does have a really excellent approach to helping you grow your business and to systemize your business, all the things. So I highly recommend that you check everything out that Dolores is doing over there at Masters in Clarity. Okay. Now, before we end, I just want to thank our show sponsor, Cravit. Cravit is always finding ways to take, make things easier for you, right? And that's why they have revised their website so that the experience is even simpler. You can quickly access all of your tools like your account settings, price list, current and past orders, and more. The product has also been enhanced to offer tailored results that, so when you're looking, you can find something quicker. I have compassion now. We cannot not go into the showrooms. I mean, at least at WindowWorks, we have dozens and dozens of books, but with not being able to go into the showrooms and having to do so much searching online, you really, I mean, this is when, the Kravit website, I know, stands out against some of the others that we use. It's just a much quicker, process, and it's more intuitive. And that's what I think that Kim and myself really like about it. So if you don't have your account at Kravit yet, go to Kravit.com today and get set up for your own trade account. All right. All righty. I just have to say, the foundational pieces like Dolores talked about today, they're so valuable. This getting clear on our message, your core values, your vision, your mission. These are all the things that really do allow all of the other pieces of our business to fall into place. These are the things that help you grow and help you, scale if that's what you want. Even if you don't want to, it's the things that just help you run your business more efficiently. Okay. So I hope that you take Dolores's insights today and work on that clarity in your message. All right. Thank you so much for showing up. I always appreciate the time you spend with me. And I always really do hope that you decide every day to be excellent. Thank you so much for joining me again today. This podcast is a production of WindowWorks, your resource for custom window treatments and awnings. To learn how we can help you on your next interior design project, go to www.windowworks-nj.com. And if you're interested in working with me on your business, either through masterminds or one-on-one coaching, or you want to know how to get my book, The Making of a Well-Designed Business, or you just want to know what's going on in the podcast land and where I'm going to be, all of that is found at LuAnnNigara.com. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day.